Today we're going to be doing tri-tip. If you don't know a lot about tri-tip, it is a fantastic, full of flavor cut of beef. It is really popular in California. It was sort of originated or cooked quite often in Santa Maria out in California, and they would cook it over oak, and that is the traditional way of cooking it. But it's perfect for sous vide because it's a working part of the cow, so it benefits from being tenderized a little bit, and sous vide will do that perfectly, and it's easy to overcook as well. Sous vide is the perfect solution. So I picked this up at my local Costco. I couldn't help it. You can see it's pre-marinated, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But if you're doing it at home and you don't have a pre-marinated, I should say, tri-tip, just do Santa Maria style would be just equal parts salt, pepper, garlic. Just rub that on and that's your preparation. And then you can just drop it in your sous vide machine. We're gonna go 133 for 4 hours today. I find 4 to 6 hours is the best sort of time frame that I like, how I like it for sous vide tri-tip. You will see people say 2 hours, you can see them say 12 hours. For me, I like to strike the balance of where it's still more steak-like, but it has tenderized. For me, 4 to 6 hours is that perfect range of time. Today, based on where I'm dropping it in, I want to cook for the family. This is going to be dinner. 4 hours is more suitable to me. And I think that'll work out perfectly. Also because it's pre-marinated and it's already been sort of absorbing those flavors over time, I think that 4 hours will be perfect. So that's what we're gonna go with today. Timeout. So we got to 4 hours. I seared it and everything. It wasn't as tender as I had hoped. So I'm gonna recommend you go to 7 hours. I'll cut in and out of this video with an updated 7-hour cook video. It'll be obvious I'll be wearing the shirt, but I'll give you some more tips along the way that I learned when my first cook wasn't as good as I had hoped. So stay tuned. As I like to recommend with all store-bought meat, I'm gonna actually put this in my chamber vacuum sealer rather than cook it in the original packaging. Besides, it looks pretty evident to me that this is like actually glued. So again, if you buy pre-packaged stuff, pre-marinated stuff, I would actually vacuum seal it, particularly because this is probably glued. So I'm gonna do that now. So I picked this up at Costco and I couldn't help myself. It's a 3-pounder, it's 25 bucks at my local Costco, and it's just a simple sort of, let's see. So it's boneless, it's trimmed, it's seasoned with salt, brown sugar, spice, paprika, onion, garlic, vinegar, rosemary extract, etc. You get the picture, but 3 pounds, 25 bucks, fantastic cut of meat. So we got it vacuum sealed, and now we're ready to drop it into the bath. We're at the 133. Like I said, we're gonna go for 4 hours. Okay, so we're at the end of my 133 for 7-hour cook. The other thing I learned with the shorter cook was just when I went to sear it, I didn't do that as well as I had hoped. I did use the cast iron pan. You know, a tri-tip is a little bit odd shaped, so that gray band was a lot larger than I hoped. So I'm gonna take some precautions today. So I'm gonna say I've got an ice bath ready. I'm gonna take it out, put it in the ice bath for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then sear it. I'm also gonna sear it using a different method, but let's take it out and get started with that. So I used the same size of tri-tip here. Obviously that same marinated Costco one that I had shown before. Everything's the same, so nothing should change from that factor. My 2 changes are to do it for 7 hours rather than the 4 hours that we were at. And then I'm going to sear it differently as well and use an ice bath. Again, precautions to keep that gray band from getting too much. I want to get as much as we always do of that edge to edge perfect 133 as much as we can. So that's what we're going for. Ice bath is gonna help us with that sear. Okay, so we've been in the ice bath for about 5 to 10 minutes. As you can see, what I'm gonna sear it with is the sous vide gun. This is my meat specialist. Like I said, the first time I tried searing it was in a cast iron pan, and it just had way too much gray in that band. So we're gonna try I didn't ice bath it like I did, so that's correction number one when it comes to searing. And then number two, the cast iron pan didn't work for me. I used avocado oil, I got it pretty darn hot. I only left it in a minute aside, less than that even, and it got too gray. So that great band got too big. So I've got my sous vide gun here. It's gonna be what we try this time. So we take the meat out. I'm gonna save this bag with the juices just in case I wanna do something with it. Not sure I will, but let's save it. And then I got my paper towels. And always remember when you are trying to sear your meat, you gotta make sure it is nice and dry beforehand. Last thing we wanna do is create a liquid barrier between the meat and our flame. So we pat it nice and dry, and then we'll sear it with the sous vide gun. And slice into it and see how it turned out. All right, so we're nice and dry now. We'll take it outside and use the sous vide gun. It's just a little safer. Weather's nice enough, I'll put it on the grill and use a sous vide gun on it. Perfect little setup. So we got the tri-tip on the grill. Gonna fire up the sous vide gun. Starting to brown real nice. Turn it over. Focus on the top this time. Here it got the grill so hot that it's sizzling on there.
That looks good.
All right, we'll bring it inside, slice it up, see what we got. Okay, so we got our tri-tip. I'm actually looking at this, and on the flip side is a little easier to see where the grain. So carving is a really important part with tri-tip because, again, like we said earlier, it is a working muscle. So, and the fiber or the grain of the meat goes two different ways, and you want to cut across the grain all the time to prevent chew, to minimize that chew. So you can see here, you have grain going this way, and then it gets flattened out here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate it into two pieces. Is what looks easiest with this particular piece. And that way, oh, and then you can see inside, look at that, that's beautiful. Now, we did not get a gray band at all on this one, which is fantastic. That's part of the magic of the sous vide gun. So beautiful 133 all the way through, love it. And I can try and, yeah, you can just see juices, really moist, really nice. Okay, so from a grain perspective, let's start with this guy, and we're gonna cut across the grain like so. And I cut that side a little bit thicker because I knew there's some fat off on the end. I'll adjust with that one, but I wanna show you guys just more towards the middle what it looks like. I'm cutting it about, I don't know, 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. And you can see that. And let me just hold up for you guys what that looks like. It's really nice. Just really nice, really tender, pulls apart. So that 7 hours, that is a lot of good. That's fantastic. Guys, I can't describe how much of a difference 7 hours versus that 4 hours really made. Highly recommend, particularly with this Costco pre-marinated version of the tri-tip. This is gonna be too much tri-tip for our family. So what I'm gonna do is we'll eat it like steaks today. Tomorrow we'll probably have leftovers. So when you're doing leftovers, I like to do sandwiches.
So when you're making your sandwiches, the key ingredient is a crusty bread. So I'm using boule here, something like a ciabatta works great. A aioli works wonderfully with these sandwiches. That's what I always go to. Something with some herbs, a little bit of lemon for some brightness. And then finally, I usually put a little bit of arugula on top too. But with sandwiches, you got so much rich flavor from that tri-tip. You don't want to take away from it too much. So that's what I recommend. Some people also prefer barbecue sauce instead. So whatever you prefer, go with it. It's wonderful.